Hello, in this video I'm going to be talking about how I used skills as opposed to interests to continue to narrow my occupations roster. So I just narrowed based on kind of very basic interests, would I enjoy doing this at all? And you can see my occupations roster looks like this. It kind of doesn't look like I narrowed it very much, but this is as far as I could go and still say I really wouldn't enjoy doing those things every day. So I'm going to move on to something else and find something else to narrow. So if you haven't narrowed that much because you think you have a lot of interests, that's cool. If you have narrowed a lot because that doesn't sound very interesting, that's very useful too. It just depends on what kind of how you approach this. And so I'm going to show you two ways to use skills to narrow this interest roster, occupations roster. So the first thing I'm going to do is you can pick a occupation. So I'm going to go with set designer, and you can go back to Own It. And you can literally search set designer. And what you're going to find, and I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go down to, you can even see here, it's been highlighted, skills. Literally, what skills do set designers typically have? And blowing that up, and I'm going to start looking at, okay, active listening, giving lots of full attention to other people. I think I could do that. Reading comprehension, that sounds like a skill I have. And the important thing to keep in mind is what you're looking for is, in general, does this job require skills I either have or am interested in developing? You don't have to have all the skills now. If you did, then we would be done. But it's about, is this something I am at all interested in developing? So for example, I really love to read. Any job that requires reading comprehension, I have that skill and I'm interested in developing it. On the flip side, I am hilariously bad with computers. I'm 22 and I already call my younger brother to help me with my computer when I have a problem, which means that any job that requires like software development or any kind of like skill like that is not a skill I have, and more importantly, it's not a skill I'm interested in developing. So again, keeping that in mind, I'm going to look at, in this case, a set designer. And so some of these I already have. You know, I really have some reading comprehension, as I said, active learning, social perceptiveness. That's something that is congruent with the skills that I have. And there are some that I'm interested in developing. So for example, my time management right now is not all that great, but I would like to develop that skill. That would be very useful. Same with kind of that persuasion piece. Like right now, that may not be a skill I have, but it's something I'm interested in learning and I think I could learn how to do. However, there are also some that really don't fit well and things that I may not ever be interested in learning. So for example, management of financial resources. In general, that's not something I'm interested in doing. It's not something I think I'll ever like to do. You know, this kind of operations analysis, you know, really thinking about what goes into being a set designer. I don't know if I have those skills, and more importantly, I don't know if I'm interested in developing those skills. So again, for now, I'm going to roll over and just highlight this red, because maybe the skills that are required to be a set designer are not the skills that I'm interested and willing to develop. So that's one way that you can start narrowing down. The other thing that you can do is you can go to the ONET Skills Profiler. I can't spell. No, that's not what I'm looking for. ONET Skills. There we go. Skills search, excuse me. And what you're going to start doing is you can say, okay, you start looking at these and say, oh, I have these skills. So you can say something like, you know, reading comprehension, as I said, I have that skill. I do not have these skills. And honestly, I'm not interested in developing them. But moving right along, I do have a decent amount of social skills. I'm, you know, reasonably persuasive. I really like taking care of others. I'm good at people. And so you might just click on a couple of these things. Again, framing it as either I have this skill or I'm interested in developing this skill. So kind of keeping in mind the things that I'm interested in developing. I'm interested in developing my critical thinking skills, for example. That's important to me. And so scrolling right down, you hit go. And what it's going to do is going to give you jobs that require those skills. And so what I'm going to do is, and amazingly, what you're going to start seeing is jobs that fit really well with those skills. And honestly, you're probably going to start seeing things that you're already interested in, because chances are most of us are good at things we like, and we like the things we're good at. So our skills and our interests tend to dovetail pretty tightly. So you can see here, my clinical and counseling psychologist, which I have both of those on here, is already here. Sociologist, already there. And that's kind of going to start informing the things that you have. But for example, I'm going to see, let's say, floral designer. As I scroll down, I don't see that. And that doesn't mean that it's an automatic no for me, but it's something to, again, kind of inform my decision-making process of like, if the skills I already have are not a great fit for the job that is going to do, the skills that I'm willing to work on are not a great fit for the job on my roster, I might use that as a way to start narrowing it down. And this can also be really good for your efficacy too. Like, be honest with yourself. What are you good at? What are you not good at? And more importantly, what do you want to learn how to do? And what are you willing to learn how to do? Because sometimes a job might be a great fit in theory, but if you're not interested in learning that skill, like I said, for me, it's computer development, then there's no point in me continuing to pursue it because I'm going to end up miserable because I don't want to learn that skill. It doesn't sound fun to me. It doesn't sound ideal to me. So this is just another way to start, kind of, again, keep narrowing your roster, start thinking about not only what are your interests, but what do you